Part 2. My girlfriend's manipulative best friend weaseled into our romantic getaway and then spent the entire time trying to break us up. So I got the perfect revenge. My girlfriend chose to tell me the night before we left for our trip that she had decided to invite her best friend to come along without even asking me if it was okay first. At that point, I was just so annoyed and tired that I didn't have the energy to start a fight about it. So the next morning, we picked her up at her house before starting our journey. The moment she got into my car, she had an attitude with me. As usual, she was super touchy-feely with my girlfriend and barely acknowledged me. I started to question why my girlfriend never seemed to notice how disrespectful her best friend was towards me, and only a couple of hours into the road trip did I regret letting her into the car in the first place. Her best friend kept making excuses to touch my girlfriend, as well as making loads of inside jokes that made absolutely no sense to me, but had my girlfriend howling with laughter. I started to feel like a third wheel in my own relationship. My girlfriend seemed more happy and entertained with her than she ever was with me. The longer we drove, the more tense I felt, and the more I regretted not speaking up about her presence on the trip before we left. I felt my blood pressure rise with every state we drove through. It just felt like her best friend was doing everything she could to push my buttons. When we stopped to use the bathroom at a gas station in the evening, I saw her holding my girlfriend's hand in the convenience store, and I remember thinking that it was so inappropriate and weird, but my girlfriend didn't seem to mind, so I continued to stay quiet. I had finally reached my limit when it was my turn to drive, and after I had been driving for 4 hours straight, I turned around to look into the back seat, only to find them spooning each other while they slept. I felt a huge wave of rage and nausea come over me as I saw my girlfriend holding her best friend in front of her like she usually does with me. I yelled at them to wake them up and ask them what the heck was going on, but all they said was that they had just fallen asleep, and the cuddling was a complete accident since there wasn't much room in the car with all our bags. Her best friend didn't sound apologetic at all, and even had the nerve to let out a little giggle during this confrontation. At that instant, I knew I had made a huge mistake coming out here with them, but there was no way I was going to let her best friend steal my girlfriend right under my nose. So I decided to drink a bunch of energy drinks so I could stay up and keep an eye on them. I really pushed my body to the limit, and when I crashed hard. I fell asleep in the back seat and slept for almost 6 hours straight. I was sleeping really deeply, and remember having anxiety as I felt myself falling asleep since I was sure they might be messing around with each other while I slept.